Democratic colleagues, on November the 21st, 2013, you decided when you were in charge of this body by 52 to 48 vote to change the rules of the United States Senate with the nomination of executive branch appointments and all judges below that of the Supreme Court. I'm not going to ask you whether you think that was fair or not, because that's not your job. I will say to the public, I thought it was incredibly unfair. I thought it was a power grab by our Democratic colleagues that will change the nature of the judiciary for the rest of our lives. Because what you have done is you've made it that you can confirm a judge, then one party, if you have over 50 votes, not having the requirement to reach across the aisle to pick up a vote or two, which is a moderating influence. That is lost forever for all judges below the Supreme Court. I was in the Gang of 14 that was formed to deal with the wholesale filibuster of all Bush nominations. New to the body, I felt it would be bad to change 100 and something, almost 200 years, I guess, plus, precedent of how we deal with nominations coming from a president. But there was a wholesale filibuster of everything Bush. And there were 14 of us, I think I'm one of 2 or 3 left, that believed that it was wrong to filibuster Supreme Court judges and judges in general because you don't like the outcome of the election. And we came up with a standard that you should only filibuster in extraordinary circumstances, which I think is consistent with what Hamilton had in mind in terms of the role of the Senate, that you expect a Republican nominee or a Republican president to pick someone different than a Democrat president, because that's what the campaigns are all about. Qualified judges, and I believe that Sotomayor and Kagan were well within the reasonable mainstream of judges who would be to the left of center in the judicial philosophy world. That's why I voted for them. But now things are different. I believe that that vote, November 21st, 2013, forever changed the way the Senate works when it comes to executive appointments, judicial nominations, and will do long-term damage to the judiciary as a whole, because the most ideological will be rewarded. We don't have that requirement yet for the Supreme Court, and I hope we never will. Time will tell. I'm not optimistic. At the time of that vote, the Senate had confirmed 19 of the President Obama's judicial nominations. That same time in President Bush's second term, there had been 4 confirmed. I thought it was a manufactured crisis. I thought it was politically motivated. And when it comes to cries of being unfair, they fall on deaf ears. As to Justice Garland, fine man, I fully expected Trump to lose. He won. I think he deserves the right of every president to pick qualified people. And that's just not me saying that. This is what the Federalist Papers number 76 said about the requirement of advice and consent. This is what Mr. Hamilton wrote a very long time ago, in 1788. The Senate could not be tempted by the preference they might feel to another to reject the one proposed, because they could not assure themselves that the person they might wish would be brought forward by a second or by any subsequent nomination. They could not even be certain that a future nomination would present a candidate in any degree more acceptable to them. To what purpose, then, require the cooperation of the Senate? It would be an excellent check upon a spirit of favoritism in the president. It would tend greatly to prevent the appointment of unfit characters from state prejudice, from family connection, from personal attachment, or from a view to popularity. That was the check and balance, advise and consent rules of the game established in 1788. When you look at the history of the Senate's role in confirming justices to the Supreme Court, it has changed dramatically. Many of the judges of the Supreme Court were confirmed without a hearing. some without even a recorded vote. I'm not here to say that my party is without fault in the area of judges. We're not. I'm here to say that on 2013, in November 2013, the game changed in a way that I think Mr. Hamilton would be very disappointed in. And it's not that I don't understand. I very much do. When my time came for Sotomayor and Kagan to appear before this committee, I knew what awaited me if I applied the Hamilton standard. Partisan people abound on both sides of the aisle. The ferocity by which people wanted me to vote no was real, apparent, and I could feel it. I believed that if Strom Thurmond could vote for Ginsburg and that 98 senators could vote for Scalia, that there was a point in time where it was expected that you would vote for somebody you would not have chosen. You would use the qualifications of that person. So we find ourselves here today confronting a nomination of one of the most qualified people I think President Trump could have chosen from the conservative world.